Let's create another mixed media masterboard. Let's then tear that into tiny pieces of art, which we then can use to decorate our journaling cards and tags. Hi, this is Luise Heinzel. Welcome to this video. Thanks for joining me today. As you can see, I have another of my really weird masterboards here on my desk, which I've made in my last video. If you have missed that video, then please go back to the last video or to the description box of this video. There I have linked it for you, and in that video I have also shown you how I made this from the trash of my die cutting projects. So this normally is called trash. But I want to turn this into a treasure, or yeah, I should better say into multiple treasures today, to be able to decorate some journaling cards, which I already have here. These are, this is a tag. These are printable journaling cards from my typewriter ephemera pack, which you can find in my shop. The link is also down below in the description box. Please don't run away if you don't have a printer or if you don't want to use digitals. You can do this idea with the masterboard on any other kind of journaling card or tag or whatever kind of ephemera piece you like as well. I also have these tags here. These also come from the typewriter ephemera pack, and I want to decorate these. And as you can see, this is a lot, but I want to try to use my masterboard, which I want to create, to make tiny pieces later by tearing the masterboard apart. And then I want to decorate these things, and then I will see how far I can come with this piece, which I have here, and which then will later on be hopefully, well, I hope that it will be enough to decorate a lot of these. In the last video, we also made these. So these are page tabs. If you want to see how these came to life, then please check out the other video. And these are meant to put on the edges of a page. I mean, what is a page tab? You know? So, this is in this direction. So that you then can have these little typewriters here, which also come from the ephemera pack, as a page tab. I found this idea really, really interesting. So I turned that idea into an ephemera pack, and then that went a little further, and I ended up with not only the page tabs in the ephemera pack, but with all the other things as well. If you want to check this out in detail, then please click the link down below in the description box. I don't want to talk too much about that. I want to have my junk journal medicine here now, and then I want to go on with this because I can't wait how this will turn out. Today I want to create my mixed media masterboard a little differently than in the other video, because I want to see what I can make from the same base. So what I have here is nothing else than I had in the other video. I made multiple of these first, so that I then have them in my stash and that I then can go on with that. If you want to craft along with me with these videos, then it would be helpful if you have some of these here pre-made as well. So perhaps you want to prepare some and then put them in your stash, and when the next video comes, you can then just take this out and craft along with me. Yeah, so that you then already have this and that you don't have to start from scratch every single time. Today I want to do this thing a little differently, not only color-wise, but also the order of the steps I do will be a little differently. So I'm going to take some white acrylic paint first. Oh. I'm really sorry. This is nearly empty. Oh no. Come out. I'm so sorry for these noises. Ah. Hopefully this is enough. Okay, so then I'm going to take a paintbrush. This comes from pretty dirty water, which I have still here from yesterday when I made the other thing. But that is good, because then my acrylic paint is not completely white, and that is what I want. And I will first cover this whole thing up. Next, I want to use this stencil here by Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. It has the number THS084. We use some texture paste opaque. I want to stencil through here, and can you see this? Here is air. I mean, it's a hole. So why don't we take one of these cards, place that perhaps here like so. Will that work? I have no idea. So that this here is on the card, but now I'm going to take this, put that on here, try to hold that in place. And I take my texture paste, and then let's just try to stencil over here so that then some of the texture paste comes to this piece and some to the card. But there where these openings from the die cutting are, I mean, what will we get now? Oh, okay. That looks pretty interesting, but at the same time also, yeah, but it is perhaps good that it is so regular, isn't it? Because first I thought this line here is perhaps a little bit harsh, but that is perhaps not so bad. I really like that. Let's try that again. Oh yes, look. That is not so bad. And then we can go on here. And now I want to, now I have focused on these areas so that I get an interesting pattern to these outer areas there as well, where we have these openings from the die cutting. But now I want to focus more on the rest of this, and I will just randomly stencil through this. So that now this pattern is there, but really, really randomly. So this is completely dry now. And now I want to tear this into pretty small pieces. In my last video, I have done that a little differently. I have used the masterboard there in a little different way, but I want to show you options. And I think in this case, it is even better to do it like this and tear it now before we go on with other colors and other mediums. I am going to add a little bit of water, and then I want to try a mixture of iced spruce spray stain and some other colors, but I'm going to use the nozzle here to let the color run into this pattern. We could even try, because we have enough of these, to spritz a few so that we then can see the difference. Okay. And then let's take some crushed olive spray stain. I have some shabby shutters here. I have the feeling that this will wreck my nerves a little bit by doing it like so. And to be honest, I like the spritzed version way better than this. So I will change my mind. I also have the feeling that it mixes better. Let's also add some old paper spray stain while we are wondering about why we always change our mind. And I also have evergreen bow. Is that a good idea? I don't know. Yeah, when that is dry, that could work. I will quickly dry this whole stuff with my heat tool. So everything is dry. So let's see how or if this can work color-wise. I think that looks pretty good. And then I want to try to put these pieces somehow to these things so that it looks nice. Does that make sense? And then I did something. I printed the journaling cards from the ephemera pack to a piece of overhead transparency. I'll just show you that on a white background so that you can see that better. And somehow my printer did something really weird. As you can see, the colors are way warmer than on this, and you know, totally different. That is not because of the overhead transparency, but because of wrong or not so good settings of my printer. But perhaps that can give us a cool advantage, because I think that this color and this nearly looks a little bit purple, that fits really well to these greens, I think. So let's try something. So this is just the same sheet like these journaling cards came from. And I want to do something. I want to cut the butterflies out from here. And then use those to layer them over the other things. Is this one? And why is this so small? Did my printer even? Oh my goodness. Oh, today is not my day, obviously. My printer even printed a different size. Not only a different color, but also a different size. Okay. Okay. What the heck happened here? That is really, really confusing for the eye, even if you could do this, obviously, but it's pretty confusing for the eye when the top layer of the transparency is a different size to the rest, because then it looks nearly like you wanted to create a 3D image, you know, because it's like shifted somehow. I will print it again and try to get the right size. So here we go. Please excuse this crazy mistake. So this is the the one which is too small, but obviously we don't throw this away. We just put it to the side for something else. This is now the right size. If you don't have overhead transparency, or you can't or don't want to print to that, obviously you can take any other kind of transparent material for this effect. You could also take some stickers, for example, which are, or not all butterfly stickers are transparent, but do you know what I mean? Perhaps you have some washi stickers or so. Or what you also could do is you could take the moths from Ideology. That would also work. They are not as transparent as these are here now. Perhaps you want to compare that. If I put my hand under this, you can see the overhead transparency is way more transparent than this here, but this is a transparency as well. These are from Ideology. Perhaps you know the other transparent things from Ideology as well. There are also these cool butterflies that could also, I think, work really, really well with this printable. Or if you don't use the printable, but you use this masterboard method, I mean, you could then also take your own butterflies or other things you want to layer here. And if you don't like transparencies at all, then obviously you can also take some other butterflies or other focal points, die cuts or not transparent stickers or whatever you like, or other butterflies from other printables also. I have my butterflies here from my own shop because I thought I want to try if it looks good if we put some. This is a little bit chaotic. I need to reorganize this container, but I don't think that I have. But I think these are all either too small or the wrong color, because I have used all of the bigger ones up, I guess. What do you want to tell us? This I think I got in a happy mail. Not so sure yet. I have an idea. I mean, of course, I could go to my printer, print my own printable with the butterflies, cut them out and then use them. Yeah, there would be no problem. But to be honest, I am not in the mood to do that, and I don't want to disturb myself now. I just want to finish this, and I want something nice here, and this wrecks my nerves a little bit. But that can also give us an advantage, because we can then challenge our brain a little bit. This color doesn't fit at all, but we can challenge our brain a little bit with having butterflies which are too small, because I think we can make this with this little, yeah, accident that we only have these small butterflies. We can make that even more interesting, I think, because what if we take some die cut butterflies, because these are a little bigger than my fuzzy cut butterflies from the digital. What if we put another layer in between here, like so, and then, yeah, and then a smaller one on there, because then we have 3 layers, and this printed one doesn't look so extremely small anymore. I will quickly do that for the others, and then I will glue that down, and then I will show it to you in detail. Perhaps we can even, oh, look, do it like so, that the die cut is under the transparency, like this, and then this here, because that matches this color really well. And I also have this little ginkgo leaf, because now you can, of course, throw into this little layered thing whatever you like and whatever you have. And while I'm gluing / sewing these layers, I'm also including some feelers and some threads. So here we go. I can't tell you how much I love these, especially because of the transparency. And this gives so much more, you know, I mean, you can play around with these. And obviously, if you would take these and instead of putting them to a journal, you could, of course, frame them and hang them to your wall. Then I would take a frame without a glass. Yeah, I mean, that would be impossible because of the layers. But what I'm trying to say is you could then even do it like this. And then this is really dimensional. Can you see? And I think that is really interesting, not only for hanging it to your wall, but also for example, a journal cover. This is really surprising, especially with the texture in the background. I really like that. And what I did here also was I tried, here you can't see that so well, but I tried to get parts of the butterfly over our mixed media masterboard, because that way you see here and here and here the butterfly from the background through the transparency, but here you see this cool texture from the masterboard. And I think with this idea you can also play around even more. When I was at my sewing machine, I thought we could even have tried to leave one of the wings out, you know, cut more off. Do you know what I mean? Where are my scissors? I'm trying to show you what I mean. For example, if this was not here, oh yes, look, and you would have only these 3 elements, and this is the pure background without the transparency, that also looks really interesting, doesn't it? Ah, okay, can we do that? Can we do that on the others as well? If we, why do you always come to those ideas when everything is finished, Luisa? I have no idea. Yeah, but look, that makes it even more interesting when that is not there. I don't know if you can see that so clearly in the camera, but please believe me, in reality that makes a really huge difference. Sometimes I need to make these operations in the very end, because when I have that, yeah, look, when I have that laying on the desk, I can't see it, and then, you know, when I have assembled it, then suddenly I see what would have looked even cooler. And this is definitely very cool. We could even think about cutting this off. Let's try it. Yeah, look. Okay, so then we obviously don't throw these pieces away, and we have all of the tags left. And what I also wanted to show you is what you can do with your leftover transparency. So here, this is the piece where I have cut the butterflies, which I've just used on the journaling cards. And obviously, when you print a sheet like this, you have a ton of this material left where you have parts of the print, but you don't really need that for cutting the butterfly out, yeah? Do you know what I mean? So let's do something. Let's take this. I will take a piece of white paper so that you can see better what I'm doing, and perhaps I can see it better than as well. Then we are going to take some distress ink. Yes, distress ink can dry on printable overhead transparency. Printable overhead transparency, not all of the overhead transparencies, and there might be brands which might not work. If you have an overhead transparency where the package says it's made for inkjet printers, then in the most cases it works that the distress ink dries on here, but please, you need to try that out. If it doesn't work, just take an archival ink, StazOn ink, or whatever ink you have, which can dry on plastic. So then, I want to take some butterflies from the Flutter set, CMS 294 by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. So we are going to take this, ink the stamp. I have the feeling I need to re-ink my ink pad. That is not so good, because you want to have this really, you know, not overloaded with ink, but also not too less, because we have already a print on here. And yeah, this is not visible enough. This is not visible enough. Let's take an ink pad which is more juicy than this one. I will quickly take some archival ink, because why not? But the distress ink also dries on here. Yeah, it's now permanent on here. Even if we can't see it so well, it's on here and it dries immediately. And that is what I like about these overhead transparencies, because with that you have really many possibilities to make your own transparent things. And obviously you could also stamp on these without printing. So what I'm trying to say is, if you don't have a printer but you want to try stamping on overhead transparency, buy a package of overhead transparency even if you don't have a printer, and then you can just play around with your inks on the naked transparency. It doesn't have to be printed. Yeah, you can also spray on here. The distress spray stains will dry on printable overhead transparency. The oxide spray will also dry, but the oxidation will come off if you spritz water or rub over it. And now I guess it's a question of how light or dark the background is. And then you can see these more or less clear. But I really like when it's, for example, like this, so that then a part of this is on the lighter part here of the background, and you know, we see that really well. And here it's on the darker part. We could even, oh, forget what I just said. I like it better like that. Look, ah, that is wonderful. Can we do something similar here? Yeah, look, this is probably a little bit too busy in the background for this plan. This is more gray. Even better here, I think. And what if we then do it like this to lighten that a little bit up? Oh yes, and that is really cool with this piece of the green here. Why not? Because look, this is what we have cut off from the journaling cards, but obviously you can use that now to make another arrangement and just put that behind something else. And what we also could consider is adding some labels or so. I have these here. These are from my shop as well. These are already a little bit altered with embossing powder. I have these in several different sizes and colors. These are called vintage labels Der Schrank. Der Schrank, that is German, and it means the cabinet. I have bought a cabinet for my craft room here, and there have been a lot of really awesome labels and also handwritten things. I mean, this frame here I made digitally, but this here I found on my cabinet, and I have digitized that. I think that is correct. So that you can find that in my shop. And if you want, you can have these for your own stash and have, you know, I wanted that you can have something from my craft room in your stash and have fun with these things I found in the cabinet. I also grabbed some other snippets. These are some random tickets. I don't know where I got these from. I think perhaps also in a Happy Mail. And I also have these. I think that could work really well. Oh yes, look. These, the bases for these are also a digital paper from my shop. They are called Weathered Numerical Patina. So I think what I'm going to do is, because I really like this layered look here, I take these little snippets, throw them all here to my desk, and then I will start gluing these layers. And while I'm gluing them, I will decide if I want to add more of these things. And if the answer to that question is yes, then I will just do it and just glue it while I'm layering these. Because if I want to put all of these here now and then later on glue them, I think that will drive me crazy because it's just too many layers.
A little piece for laughs, a bigger one for love. Write your story, let it fill the above. This paper holds the things you desire. Tear them off, fuel your inner fire. Tear away the rain, bring me the shine. In this life we get to choose our line. Take what you need, leave the rest behind. There's always room for another chase. Grab your piece, keep your dreams close. Tear off the parts you cherish most. A little piece for laughs, a bigger one for love. Write your story, let it fill above. This paper holds the things you desire. Tear them off, fuel your inner fire. Tear away the rain, bring me the shine. In this life we get to choose our line. Take what you need, leave the rest behind.
Done. I always end up with the plan of making a coffee. Then on the way from my coffee machine back to my desk, I drink a sip and then it's here until I'm finished and then it's cold. It's always the same thing. So here we go. This is just so cool. I find that these fragments from our mixed media masterboard made from trash make these so much more interesting. I mean, these fragments are now part of the whole design, obviously. On some, you can see more of that, and on some, there's not so much. But that makes it so cohesive and interesting, and you know, it has this special something somehow for me, because this now fits together really, really well, and at the same time they are all different, and you can use up all of those trash things. What I now want to know is, do these now fit to what we made in the last video? Because it was the same idea. These will probably, I'm not sure yet, go into the same journal. But do they really fit the other things, those page tabs we made the last time? Because we did the steps with the masterboard in a different way. I've used these birds instead of the butterflies last time, and also some photos. What do you think? Where's the one with the photo? I think the best way to decide that is to put that to this table like so, and then mix them a little bit. But I would say that works really well together. This green and the green from this butterfly, and also this, what we could make here, fits really well. This and that fits really well together. I mean, the colors are pretty cohesive, aren't they? This one here pops out a little bit, but not too much. That also fits to this. And to these little things here on the typewriters, I think that is pretty good. And when we then have perhaps already in mind what we also have in the ephemera pack, and that are these little cards here. I haven't done anything with these yet, but since these are pretty neutral, I would say that should work as well. I would consider this as really successful. So then, this is it for today. I'm really hoping that you could find some inspiration with this video and that you take out your trash things and try this. No matter if you have the same things like I have here, but what my wish would be is that you play around with the things you have laying around. Because what was this? This mixed media masterboard idea came from these trashy things. And I think it really doesn't matter what you then add to this first idea, because you always end up with something unique, with something which is you, and with something, and that is the most important thing, with something where you can be proud of that you have made that. And I think that is very important. If you want to follow me on this little journey here, and if you want to perhaps also see how these then go into a journal later. I don't know if it will be this journal, but I'm assuming it will be this journal. Not so sure yet. But if you want to see that, then stay tuned. Ooh. Not so sure what to do with these, because they are obviously a little bit too big for this journal, but perhaps that sparks the next idea. So if you want to see how these things will look when they are in a journal, then please stay tuned. And I wish you a very creative day. See you the next time, and thanks for joining me. Bye.